Hi, I'm QDC. What we're about to build today is Masterbox's hand-to-hand fight German and British infantry World War I era. And this is a 1/35th scale. The reason why I bought this particular kit was because of two recent documentaries that I saw about the war. I don't know about you, but when I saw interviews, full interviews of former World War I soldiers who fought during the war, these full interviews from the beginning to the end were lacking to me. For whatever reasons, they couldn't describe exactly how they felt in the trenches or try to give out a good story about their life. And it's mainly because, at least in my opinion, they were getting older in life. They were in their 80s or in their 90s. And so I just didn't get a full feel of how it felt like to be in the trenches during the First World War. Now, recently, I found by accident two documentaries that was made in the 1960s. In the 1960s, these men, not these specific men that I saw, but other men, were younger and they were able to describe in detail how they felt being in the trenches, and they gave out really vivid stories about their life. And one of them was a description from a German soldier who told in great detail how he killed his enemy. It was so vivid that it really shocked me, because how he killed this soldier was, if it wasn't a war, it would be considered a heinous crime. And he said that he regretted doing it, but he had to. And he has ever since post-traumatic stress disorder. So these interviews from 1960s was very interesting to me, and so that's the reason why I was inspired to build this model kit. So let's go ahead and start building this kit right now. Let's take inside this box. We have one plastic bag containing all the parts, including parts for the trench. So we built the model kit, and now it's time for me to show you what I think about this kit so far. Take a look. This is the assembled model kit before painting. I find this kit easy to build with no surprises. The figures are easy to build, and the level of detail is average for a plastic model kit. I appreciate the large amount of accessories that the kit offers for both the German and British infantry. You get most of the small arms such as rifles, pistols, and machine guns. I also noticed that these accessories come from ICM, which is interesting to me. My favorite part is making the trench. Building the trench wasn't hard, but because of the lack of better instructions, it made building it more challenging than it should be. I want to explain how I made the barbed wire. I took ordinary paper clips and straightened them out and cut them into rods. Then I drilled holes on the base of the trench and insert them into the ground. Using commercially available barbed wire for scale models, I carefully wrapped 3 lines to the paperclip rods and glued them in place. And the results are a convincing looking barbed wire. I also added the Lewis machine gun and a pistol. Overall, this is a fine kit to build. The only drawback is the lack of clear instructions. The instructions on the back of the box is not clear, and Masterbox could have explained it better. It's time for me to paint the model. Okay, so we built the model kit, we painted it, we weathered it, and we made a small diorama out of it. So now it's time for me to show you the entire model kit from the beginning to the end. Take a look. I want to start off by talking about painting the figures. Blending paints were the most challenging part of this project. Let me explain about blending paints. Blending is a technique of smoothing, merging colors together that creates a seamless transition between them. Here's an example. What you see are two colors that are close to each other, but the two colors are different. In blending, you connect the two colors together, but you do it in a way that still leaves it distinct and separate. Only the center has the mixing of the two colors. The idea of blending paints is simple enough. If you're an artist, blending on an average sized canvas board can be straightforward and easy because the work surface is large. However, if you blend the colors on a tiny 1/35th scale figure, this process becomes very hard and tedious. This is my process. I started off painting the basic colors using acrylic paints. I added dark shadows and highlights on the clothes using artist oil paints, followed by a light shade of shadow and bright highlights which finishes the clothes. The face and hands uses the same procedure. This was tedious work. Each figure took me hours to complete, but I liked the results. Let's talk about the trench. I started painting the trench not using my airbrush, my favorite tool. Using an airbrush would require a lot of masking, and the results would be similar to painting with a brush. Brush painting has the advantage of not using any masking, so this was my method. It was a straightforward process. Once the paint was dry, I started weathering the trench. I used artist oil colors to do this. I first gave it a dark wash, followed by dry brushing the highlights. You notice the walls have different colors. I originally had it in one color using the dry brush technique. I didn't like the look, so I dry brushed different earth tones to give it more interest. Last was to give it a base. I bought a wooden base from a local craft store and I stained it and let it dry. Then I glued the trench on the base and carefully glued each figure on the trench. And the results are good. What I like about this project is the dedication I spent on painting the figures. I am not trying to brag, but this is my best figure painting work I've done so far. This looks more like a work of art than a diorama. I hope this video encouraged you to build a model kit of your own. I know I said this many times, but my videos are to encourage you to build your own model kit to enjoy. So please pick up a model kit and enjoy this hobby for yourself. Thank you. That completes this model project. What you're about to see is a video slideshow of the entire model kit. But before I go, as always, just because I put this video here on YouTube, it doesn't make me a model kit expert. I'm not an expert, I'm just a regular guy just like you. And if you're interested, at the end of the video, I'm going to supply links to two documentaries that I saw from the 1960s that inspired me to build this model kit. I'm QDC, and thanks for watching. Goodbye now. Okay, so if you're interested in knowing more about those two videos, those two documentaries that I looked at, if you go to this link over here, this link would take you to a documentary that was made in 1961, in which you'll see both British and German soldiers from World War One going back to France, to Ypres, to really tell their stories about World War One from their point of view. And if you want to see the interview of the German soldier who described exactly how he killed his enemy, that I believe is 1964, you're more than welcome to click this link over here to watch that interview, that documentary right over here. Now, if you can't see any of these two links, then I'm going to leave an additional link down at the description below.